Good morning. Thank you for joining me today for this important public safety announcement, but also a very important announcement for Arkansas State Capital City. Over the past few months, I've heard from countless community leaders, public safety advocates, the City Board of Directors, and law enforcement officials. And almost all of them have had positive things to say about Interim Police Chief Heath Helton. I've been fortunate to work with Chief Helton as he's moved from captain to assistant chief and now interim police chief. As we've known that the city of Little Rock, like many other cities across this nation, we have been battling crime. We've transitioned from crime, a sole focus on crime, to focusing on a holistic, comprehensive view of that and how we reduce crime. I'm happy to report that after many months of strategizing and executing plans and the men and women of the Little Rock Police Department, the City Board of Directors, we have now seen violent crime go to a negative 8%. In addition, violent crime has gone to a negative 8%. Overall crime is a negative 1% compared to last year. And we know the last 2 to 3 years have been different because no leader has ever led through a global pandemic and the many different things that come with that. And so we took a different approach. And that different approach is focused on long-term stability and sustainability. But anytime you take a different approach, you have to have consistent and committed leadership. Leadership that's founded upon collaboration. And so I've been very impressed with the leadership skill of Interim Police Chief Heath Helton. He has the respect of the rank and file officers. He has the ability to connect with all communities here in the city of Little Rock. And that's something that when you're focused on 21st century community policing, that you have to be able to communicate, collaborate, and have compassion. And that's true leadership. And that's what we've been seeing for quite some time. But I wanted to ensure that I was very deliberate and thoughtful and very intentional in this search process. Many should know that when we announced the search process, we had accumulated somewhere around 38 applicants. And we all know in the middle of the election, as I committed at that time and wasn't able to meet it, that people weigh different decisions on the election. I am happy to report that the applicant pool over a period of time increased from 38 to 48. And so what does that mean? That means that the position of a police chief is very important to the nation from the city of Little Rock when you have that number of applicants, and we're so very excited about that. But when you're being very deliberate, you're being very intentional, you also want to listen to other varying degrees of community. So what you have with us today, you have members of both the FOP and the BPOA, the Fraternal Order of Police and the Black Police Officers Association, their leadership. This past Wednesday, they asked to have a meeting with me. And I've often shared that in executive leadership, you don't take endorsements because if a leader decides to go a different way from the endorsement, it creates an issue. But the FOP and the BPOA, for somehow, I guess they knew that. And so they asked for a private meeting, and they shared their unified support for Interim Police Chief Heath Helton to be the next chief. And I shared with them that I would take that into consideration and continue to have other meetings. But if anyone's heard me in my mantra, and for the city board as well, is that it's our mission to unite, grow, and transform. And anytime that you have the FOP and the BPOA all on one accord, that's a good thing. And it's a demonstration of our mission to truly be unified as a city, to truly grow as a city, and to transform when you have these two organizations who are both independent but to come together, be on one accord for one person. And so I'm happy and proud as I stand here today with different members of the city board, whom I also listened to them on this decision, to announce that Interim Police Chief Heath Helton will now be permanent Chief Heath Helton. Let's give him a round. Thank you.
Yeah. Good morning. First, I want to start off by I want to give thanks to the good Lord upstairs, because none of this would be possible without Him. And truly, having the ability to serve is truly something that I feel like He has blessed me with, and to really do what I can for the community. Also, my parents, who are extremely excited when I found out this morning this opportunity was going to be given to me, and I'm truly humbled and honored that it has been placed before me. So I want to thank them, and I would really be remiss if I didn't stand here and thank my wife, Carmen, who is she is my inspiration, my foundation, and really the rock behind me that allows me to go out and do what I do and support me 100% in everything that I do for the department and for the city. I am grateful to Mayor Scott for his confidence in asking me to lead the department. I've served for almost 3 decades here in the city of Little Rock and with the Little Rock Police Department. This is an amazing opportunity, and I'm blessed to have the support of the mayor, the city board of directors, various aspects of city administration, community leaders, and most importantly, the men and women of the Little Rock Police Department. As Mayor Scott mentioned, having the support of the Little Rock Black Police Officers Association, the Little Rock Fraternal Order of Police, is extremely important to me. Having a unified organization is what it starts off with. Us being unified, and obviously we won't agree on everything at times, but it is important for us to be able to listen to one another, come to some arrangement to where we can continue to move the department forward for the benefit of the city and for the benefit of the community in which we serve. I do know that this is a very challenging time for law enforcement across this nation. There's a lot of complex issues, a lot of things that have to be dealt with and addressed over this course of what we're doing and as we go forward. But it's also an exciting time, I think, because where there's challenges, I see opportunity. There's no secret. Little Rock Police Department has challenges over the last several years, but I do see opportunity for us to become better, be better, and willingness to do what we can to establish our foundation with the city, with our community. There's opportunities there for us to revitalize and rekindle some of those relationships that to me are very important to this organization. We're implementing new technology day in and day out in this department. If you've seen it with the Real-Time Crime Center, some of the other things with our online app, a lot of things that to me will truly take us to the next level, making us that best practice agency, and how we can turn that technology into an avenue to where it makes it more convenient and more engaging between law enforcement and the community. I'm committed to being taking a data-driven approach to dealing with crime and addressing crime issues within our community. Embracing those 6 pillars of 21st century policing will be the foundation of the administration and my command staff going forward. We've implemented our Real-Time Crime Center, which you've heard me talk before in previous press conferences. This is going to be a game changer for the city and how we approach different aspects and how we deal with crime issues. Our continued partnerships with local law enforcement, other municipalities, state and federal, will be of the utmost importance to me. Without them, we cannot do a lot of our work, so having those partnerships are critical. Also, our community neighborhood associations, those partnerships are equally as important to me. I want to make sure that I am very much engaged with the community, no matter where you are in the city, whether you're in the South End, Southwest, Northwest, downtown, or on the East End. I am open to dialogue, I'm willing, and I work for you all. Like I said, I'm truly humbled, I'm blessed, I'm honored. It's still time to soak in all the shock from how things materialized this morning. I know that the media will want to do interviews over the coming days, and we'll definitely accommodate everybody who wants to sit down and talk and as we go forward. But I want the citizens to know that I have a deep passion for this city. I care about this community. And my family's here, my kids have been raised here, and I'm a graduate of Little Rock School District, so my whole life has been invested in this community. And it's truly an important aspect to see us continue to develop and get better than where we are. I think the vision that Mayor Scott has to help carry us forward, along with the relationships that the police department continue to grow and cultivate, there's no doubt we're going to do exciting things in the coming years. So thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to working with everybody, and have a blessed day.
Thank you, Chief Helton. We'll now take a few questions. Mary?
You did an annual search for police chief. What was part of the decision
Thank you so much for that question. Um, First and foremost, you always want to select the person who's the most qualified, irrespective of being local or external. However, I think it's always best to demonstrate a pathway within Little Rock Police Department that you can be born and raised in Southwest Little Rock and be mayor. You can be born and raised in Southwest Little Rock and be the chief of police. And so Chief Helton has demonstrated a quality and quilt of work over the past 3 decades of excellence, the ability to focus not only on operational excellence, but the ability to build relationships across this entire city. And he's brought many new things to the table. I'll give one example that really impressed me because I'm a student of just government in general and how a city can be more innovative. One of my fellow brother mayors in the city of Dallas, they've seen a significant amount of crime reduction, and so he had shared with me a particular model, and he said, hey, did you have anybody from your police department there? And I said, I don't think so. I happened to just bring it up casually in conversation, and Chief Helton actually was there at that conference, and we recently implemented that. And so that was just I can go on with a series of different instances and watching his quality of work and engaging with him that brought me to this decision. And so I do think it means something to the incoming officers in the recruit class that will graduate, I believe in January or February, that they realize that they too can become the police chief of the city or where they're from. Next question.
Can you just talk about, the process this morning? I know that, Chief was saying that it all was kind of a rush this morning, maybe more this morning. Can you just kind of talk
Sure, and I'll be very transparent. One is all along we've been really going back and forth. I believe we had 2 candidates that were presented to really go through a process, and that process of having the community meetings and things of that nature. But anytime when you have an opportunity to be interim police chief and you actually put your application in, you get an opportunity to interview for the job. And so he's been interviewing since that period in time. And so that played a role in it. We've had several kind of stakeholder meetings and things of that nature, and then just having conversations with members of the city board. And when you really think about having this historic negotiation with the FOP and BPOA, where we have historic raises for our officers that are really going to cut down the vacancies, we firmly believe we're really just in a good footing right now, and we need some consistency in the leadership as we move forward, but also innovation and transformation to carry on the legacy of interim police chief Bewley as well as former police chief Keith Humphrey. And so we've had those conversations, and we feel this is the best way to keep a solid footing, but also continue to focus on innovation and transformation. I say that all to say we've been watching a number of different things, and I've been very close to making the decision. And so with anything, you got to go through some human resource stuff. You want to make sure all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed. And so before we made a decision, I wanted to make sure that was done, but I had every intent to look towards making that decision, but I felt like I needed to have just one final conversation with Chief Helton, but also understanding we got impending weather. We know Arkansas is consistently inconsistent with weather, so nothing may happen tomorrow, but everything can happen tomorrow. And so we wanted to have some sound leadership, and so in that meeting, we met at the Starbucks across from Park Plaza Mall. I have a lot of meetings there. And so he came here. He didn't know why. And it was his first experience ever going to a Starbucks, which was completely surprising. And so we had the meeting. He's engaging with residents as I was as well. And then at 9:15 or 9:20, I extended the offer. And then about 9:40, I sent an email to the city board. So a lot of time, and it's hard with scheduling. We have this impending weather, and we just felt it was just time to make a decision. But also, we had to get some things done as it relates to human resources things. So you got to play by play. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Yeah.
How important was the rank and file support and leadership in the police department and in the fraternal board in making this decision?
Irrespective of whether you're a LRPD member that are FOP or BPOA, every member of the rank and file is important in my decision making. But it was very critical, but yet pleasing to see two departments that have had a history of not working together work together. And that they can work together. I think that's a demonstration and what we try to do every day here in the city of Little Rock, to focus on unity. And that's a demonstration of what we all can continue to do, is focus on unity.
What can we expect for the first thing that happened?
I think you got to ask him that. He hadn't told me yet.
Chief, what's your first thing?
Obviously, I think the important thing is to get out with amongst the rank and file, meeting with command staff. I think it's important to listen to them, get their buy-in on ideas that they have, and then we use that to help formulate our vision as we move forward. Take that and mold that with some ideas that I have, and I duly think it's very important to have command staff's input on how we move forward, and then make sure that's disseminated out among the rank and file. There's no doubt we've got some challenges that we need to address, obviously with some staffing and things like that. But I do believe, as the mayor mentioned, with the historic raises, that I think recruiting will come along. I think we've got to continue to develop that, how we're going to present that going forward, and try to get our positions filled. And then how we look at increasing our, a lot of people want COP back out in the communities, which I'm wholeheartedly believe that's important. And it's something that we definitely need to engage in, but also changing the culture of the organization, that where every officer realizes they are a community-oriented police officer. It's not the fact that you're out here a patrol officer answering calls, but you too are a community police officer. So changing that culture, that mindset, having everybody embrace that idea, it to me is important. And then obviously having the two organizations support and communicating with them on issues and listening to some of their concerns. So I think the first few days, 60 days, 30 days, is sitting down, getting those ideas and things in order, and then also taking in half of that to listen to the community as well. And there'll be some restructuring on some things, but ultimately it's just continue to move forward, process where we need to make improvements, and then obviously meeting with the mayor and going over some things with him. But addressing violent crime is one of our issues that we're addressing right now. It's unfortunate that the tragic homicides that we've seen across our community is frustrating. It's to me, these acts of violence are senseless, and they're just cowardly the way they're being done. But hopefully we can continue to develop some plans to address some of those, working with, whether it's our federal partners, state partners, or whatever. So there's a lot, but like I said, again, soaking this whole day down and trying to really wrap your arms around the whole thing, will definitely see more coming out from the agency as we move forward.
One last question.
Hey, Mayor, talk about the stability that this decision will bring to the city of Little Rock, especially ahead of the new year.
I couldn't hear you say it again, please.
Talk about the stability that this decision will bring to the city of Little Rock ahead of the new year.
Well, I think let's be very direct. I think anytime where we've seen 3 interim police chiefs transition for very positive reasons to take on some new roles, we think that's a positive thing. But also to the public, when you've seen from a national perspective violent crime rise, and while we know and we've already shared that violent crime is now a negative 7 or 8%, overall crime compared to last year is a negative 1%, to the public, you still may not feel safe. And so we want to be very cognizant of that and demonstrate, 1, stability and consistency, but then 2, to show and share what our police department is doing to protect them and keep them safe and make it even more safer. So we believe that this stability nod and determine who the permanent chief is a positive thing. But also, as I shared with Chief Helton, we have to do a better job of sharing what we're doing as it relates to the police department, but also engaging with the community as well, whether it's College Station or Chenal, Petaway or Pleasant Valley. We need to be there engaging with our residents, and so you'll see a lot more of that. Chief Helton's a very active leader, and I think that's very good as well. So thank you so much. Have a blessed day.
Chief. Congratulations, Chief.
Appreciate it, sir.
Ma'am, thank you, sir. All right.